Good afternoon and welcome to the 2013 Economic Forecast. Today is the 5th of December 2012 and it has been exactly 1 year since I gave my last forecast. A lot has been happening in the global economy, and despite the upbeat news from the mainstream media, the fundamentals have been deteriorating at an alarming rate. It saddens me that we are not getting an honest assessment from our politicians regarding the dire state of Western economies, and I think that's why so many people cannot see the problem coming, people like Steve. I shall be playing various clips from my discussion with Steve on the 5th of December 2011 showing how my 2012 forecast panned out. Here is the first clip. Hi Steve, it's the 5th of December, and it's that time of year again. I have prepared my economic forecast for 2012.
Oh, Tony, shall I get the rope now?
You know me, I am a harsh realist and tell it as it is.
I am going to be honest with you, Tony. You do come across as depressing.
Steve, I only want to prepare my friends for the future, because the future is going to be so different from the past.
I am surprised that you have still got some friends left with all your doom and gloom.
Okay, Steve, what is your assessment of the current economic position?
We are going through a difficult period, but it is no different from a normal economic cycle. In 2012 things will start to pick up. I even predict that our standard of living will start to rise. Tony, there is nothing to worry about.
I need a drink. Make it a double. Steve, do you think 2012 has been a good year?
It's been okay. However, I did not expect a wage freeze and staff redundancies in my department.
Steve, even when you are given the facts about the dire problems in the Western economies, you still don't get it.
Steve, have you not been watching the news to see how bad things are in Greece?
Andreas, we are not like Greece. We are on the road to recovery. Last quarter the UK economy grew by 1%.
Okay, let's have a look at the next clip. Okay, here is my economic forecast for 2012. The stock markets will remain highly volatile. There will be major swings on a daily basis. The market will react to both good and bad news. The good news will be based on hope, such as a resolution to the euro crisis. The stock markets have been highly volatile, with quite a few percentage changes in one day. I truly believe that had quantitative easing not been introduced, the markets would have crashed by now. On to the next clip. Gold prices will continue to rise, but I won't be surprised if there are major swings on the spot price on a daily basis. Gold will rise, because I believe that the governments will continue with quantitative easing. Gold certainly has been highly volatile, but the trend has been upwards, and that's mainly due to quantitative easing. Let's have a look at the next clip. I believe the UK will enter a recession, then followed by a depression. Not sure on the timing of the depression. Depends on how long they continue with quantitative easing. We did enter a recession, and that's despite the quantitative easing that took place. Without quantitative easing we would already be in a depression. The only problem is, QE is going to make the depression down the road a lot worse. Here is the next clip. The Occupy Wall Street movement will gain momentum. It will awaken people to the scam of fractional reserve banking as it operates today.
You were wrong about that one, Tony. We don't hear much about the Occupy Wall Street movement.
I have to admit that you are right, Steve. I am sad that they have not made much of an impact, as I truly believe that they tried to wake the population up to the scam of fractional reserve banking as it operates today. I think that the Occupy Wall Street movement needed to be more focused. I just hope that their profile will rise over the next few years. Let's have a look at the next clip. Tensions will increase in the Middle East, and I would not be surprised if relationships between the United States and Iran deteriorate further. Tensions have increased in the Middle East, and I expect it to escalate.
Totally agree with you, Tony. Now that we are in a period of austerity and overpopulation, history will repeat itself, and by that I mean a major war. It's a depressing thought, but that's what happens.
Okay, here is the next clip. Major civil unrest will become an issue worldwide as the standard of living starts to fall significantly. This is certainly happening. Greece and Spain have been in the news. Also, there have been major disturbances in the Middle East.
Tony, the mainstream media do not reflect the truer problems in Greece. My family are really suffering out there. There are riots on a daily basis. These are not being reported.
Thank you for that, Andreas. Okay, on to the next clip. Politicians in the major parties will lose credibility and UKIP will attain a higher credible profile. UKIP has certainly had its profile raised. Have a look at this article from the Independent newspaper. Also have a look at this clip.
The UK Independence Party says that recent by-election results amount to a sea change in British politics. UKIP, not the Lib Dems, are, they claim, the third force and could go on to be the biggest party in the 2014 European elections, possibly reshaping the right wing of British politics.
In Rotherham, UKIP secured 21.79% of the vote, its highest showing in a Westminster by-election.
As you can see, UKIP has a much higher profile amongst the mainstream political parties in the UK. I am now going to play my last clip from my 2012 economic forecast. Stress in the workplace will significantly increase, leading to more people suffering from mental illness due to the pressures. The workplace will suffer worsening pay and conditions as global competition takes hold. Wage inflation will remain very low due to the high unemployment. However, price inflation will continue to be a problem, as I believe that they will continue with quantitative easing. Stress in the workplace has significantly increased and mental illness is also on the increase. Have a look at this article from the Daily Mail. I would also like you to look at another article from the Daily Mail. There you go, that was my forecast for 2012. I would now like to give you my assessment of the current economic position and then give my forecast for 2013. We are truly living in dire times, and it is being made worse by the politicians not facing up to reality. The problem is, no one likes bad news. The politicians know this and therefore tell us what we want to hear. Very few people would vote for a politician that tells the truth about the dire economic problems. That's why the can is being kicked down the road.
Tony, the can is badly dented and there is a brick wall ahead.
Quite right, George. Here are the facts. The US currently have a debt ceiling of $16.4 trillion. The government debt today has just passed $16 trillion, and that excludes unfunded liabilities. The interest rates are far too low and quantitative easing infinity is being applied. On top of all this, the baby boomers are retiring. The perfect economic storm is ahead. Okay, here is my economic forecast for 2013. The fiscal cliff issue will become high profile over the next few months. I believe there will be an 11th-hour solution to the problem, and that is, the debt ceiling will be raised. It will probably be raised to about $19 trillion. The reason why I think the debt ceiling will be raised is that politicians do not wish to face reality. Year on year there is always a budget deficit, and that in turn leads to a higher public debt. In the UK, the economic position is also dire. The government have tried to reduce the budget deficit with so-called austerity measures. Trust me, we are not experiencing true austerity measures. The cuts are simply a drop in the ocean. We still have a budget deficit year on year, and the government have admitted that it is going to take longer than expected to bring down the budget deficit. I have maintained all along that we are going to be drip-fed worse news over time. I believe that the government knew it would not be able to meet its target. However, drip-feeding worse news seems to be the government's preferred option. There is no doubt in my mind that the global economic position is going to worsen. It simply now is a matter of how governments deal with the problem. In the US, growth has been maintained by raising the debt ceiling and applying quantitative easing. The growth is coming at a dreadful price, and that is huge unsustainable debt. In the UK, there has been an attempt to apply austerity measures. These small cuts are choking off demand, and a deflationary spiral would occur if QE were not to be applied. However, the government we try to stimulate growth with further quantitative easing. It simply is baked into the cake.
Tony, do you think there will be a major dramatic economic collapse?
To be blunt, the economic collapse cannot be stopped. However, it can be managed. What the governments are doing is stage managing the collapse. What I predict is a long drawn-out collapse over several years. I do not see a Mad Max situation developing. However, I do see a major paradigm shift. We have to get used to a gradual reduction of our standard of living. We also have to get used to more state control. So in answer to your question, Steve, I do not see a major dramatic economic collapse, just a slow continual collapse over time. Job security will become a thing of the past. Governments will argue that the workforce is to become more flexible. Lack of job security will increase stress further, and there will be a further rise in mental illness. More people will be forced to work part-time, and zero-contract hours will become more popular. Trade unions will continue to remain weak due to the high level of unemployment. Global competition will drive down our wages further. I believe that wages will drop by about 3% in real terms. Precious metals will continue to rise relative to the dollar, as I see no end to quantitative easing. I would not be surprised if gold exceeds $2,000 per ounce by the end of 2013. Tensions will continue to increase in the Middle East, and I would not be surprised if this was the precursor to World War III. I believe World War III will happen relatively soon, that is to say in the next few years, but I cannot give a time frame on this. But remember this, throughout history a war follows a depression. Trust me, I have no doubt at all that we are going to enter the greatest depression ever.
I agree, Tony. Greece is already in a depression. My family are really desperate. I help to support them.
I am really concerned about people suffering from stress and depression. These will be the people that suffer from normalcy bias. A slow awakening will happen, and it's going to be very painful. Steve and Tracy, I hope you have taken note of this. I can say with 99% certainty that we will be worse off financially by this time next year. QE will ensure price inflation and wage rises will not keep up. As I have mentioned before, we now have to compete globally for our jobs. We still have to remember that we are very wealthy compared to the global population. Adjusting to a lower standard of living is going to be very painful. However, once we have gone through the transition period, I believe that we will feel more content provided that everyone is in the same boat.
Do you honestly believe that we will be more content? How come?
I truly believe that we will become more grounded and humble. There will be a move away from our shallow lifestyle and celebrity worship. A humble existence makes us appreciate things more. We will be happy with the simple things in life.
I can assure you I won't be.
Tracy, you will have no choice. Get used to the new reality. In conclusion, I hope that the Occupy Wall Street movement are able to raise their profile in the coming year. They understand the scam of fractional reserve banking as it operates today. They wish to expose the corruption that is undertaken by the central private banks. The collapse has been manipulated. Think about this. When the market crashes, and it will, the banking elite can buy up real estate very cheaply, and then to add insult to injury, interest rates will rise, and massive redistribution of wealth will have taken place.
Okay, Any questions?
Tony, are you able to invite Gregory Manorino to talk to Aspire video link? He provides a refreshing insight to the current financial problems.
George, that is a great idea. I shall see what I can do. Thank you all for attending my economic forecast for 2013.